What is the lawsuit value of an arthroscopic knee surgery in New York, in the New York City area? Well, the lawsuit value of an arthroscopic knee surgery can be significant. Now, assuming that there's a sufficient policy, let's assume there's $1 million policy, because of course, if there's a smaller policy like $25,000, it's very hard to get more than the insurance limits unless you're going after the individual personally and they have the personal assets to collect. It's very unlikely. So let's assume that there's a big policy, like $1 million. And let's also assume that you're in a good venue, so the venue doesn't matter, and that the case is going to trial tomorrow. So there's no delay, and the insurance company is a good insurance company, and all other factors being equal. What is the value of an arthroscopic surgery? Well, it really depends on the treatment. Now, you know that you have a knee injury and you needed an arthroscopic surgery. But why did you need that surgery? Was it for a medial or lateral meniscal tear? Now, if it's for a meniscal tear, I would say that you could probably settle the case with a large policy for about $100,000, maybe a little bit less, maybe a little bit more. That's just a range, an estimate. If you have more than a meniscal tear, if you have an ACL tear and they needed to do an ACL reconstruct, which is a much more involved surgery, then it's probably worth much more, maybe 150, 200, or even more than that. Now, it also depends on whether that surgery was successful. Because if that surgery was a success and you're now healed and you maybe had 2 or 3 days, where you were in a hospital or in a surgery center, and then 2 or 3 days recuperating at home, and then maybe you took a week off from work, but now it's been 2 months and you're fine. You're playing tennis, you're running, you're playing basketball. Well, obviously that's actually going to lessen the value that you're going to receive, because at the very basic principle, all of these cases are injury cases, right? And the law is meant to compensate you for your injury. So the more injury you can prove, the more compensation you'll receive. And the flip side is the less injury that you have, the better recovery that you make. If it's not permanent, then the less money you're going to receive. So it's a pretty simple concept. But we had a case, for example, where somebody just did an arthroscopic knee surgery for, I believe it was a torn meniscus. And then they saw a specialist because they weren't getting better. Because they did the surgery on one knee, they favored the other knee. And because they were putting all their weight on the other knee, now the other knee got injured and they needed to possibly do a surgery on the other knee. And in addition to that, the specialist that they saw after the knee surgery said that this knee surgery is just temporary. It is going to help them, but it's not going to be a permanent fix-all for them because the injury was so severe. And that they believed with an orthopedic, was an orthopedic specialist, and he believed with a medical degree of certainty that they would need a total knee replacement. Now, a total knee replacement is a major surgery. So just armed with that, with just an arthroscopic surgery that was conducted, as well as a recommendation for a total knee replacement that wasn't done yet, we went into court and we picked a jury and we began negotiating the case. And it was a $1 million policy. It was a good liability. It was a hit in the rear. So the liability did not play a role. And we were able to settle that case for $575,000, which I felt was a very good number because arthroscopic knee surgeries are usually worth about $100,000. But see, this case was worth more because the client needed a total knee. And so now we're able to add that future damage onto the case and allow the jury and the judge, as well as the insurance company, to see that there is more value here in this case, and that's why it commanded a larger settlement.